The human race has existed for around 200,000 years. In the beginning, the most important aspects of life were survival. What will I eat? Where will I find water? Will my shelter protect me through the night? However, as the human race has evolved, our immediate needs became more attainable, and time that was spent hunting was replaced with a quick drive to the grocery store. Central heating and cooling protects us from the harshest of elements, and water pours out of a tap. We can never truly know what life was like all those thousands of years ago, though the essential pieces of history get passed along through stories, writing, and art. While stories get twisted through iterations and text fades through time, art has the unique ability to withstand the excessive force of time. In fact, art does not just withstand the excessive force of time, but rather, art has the power to change the landscape of society. Just as the Colorado River cut a channel through stone that would later become the Grand Canyon, art has the power to cut through our society and influence our opinions and values. Ultimately, art influences our innermost sense of self and takes us on a journey of self-exploration and introspection. So let us set off into the rivers and oceans of art, guided by art's whims to become who we were always meant to be. Drawing, painting, sculpture, dance, music, film, architecture, food. What is art? Art is like getting on a boat, setting far off from the mainland of comfort, not knowing exactly where you're going. All you're sure of is that you are better off because of being on the boat. You are filled with hope, traveling to a new destination where new understandings will prevail and shine light on shadows cast by doubt and regret. Nothing we do is exactly new. After all, we have been here for around 200,000 years. We learn from those who have come before us, daring to imagine that years later, we will become the teachers. The ocean appears to be this never-ending abyss, but it is not. It only seems that way because of the grandeur of the unknown. Who would have thought that this journey, which is the culmination of thousands of years of documented history, showcasing some of the most prosperous and cruel times, could leave us with such a childlike awe and wonder of the world around us, of the lives that have loved and lost, of what we may become and what we should become. That is the power of art to me. That is art to me. As vast and as limitless as the ocean, not to be contained by the people, but rather to be self-contained. Art flourishes without restriction and without the annual pruning required for labors to be considered fruitful. No one view or definition can show the true capabilities of art, but that does not stop people from trying. Oxford Dictionary defines art as the expression or application of human creative skills and imagination, typically in visual forms such as painting or sculpture, producing works to be appreciated primarily for their beauty or emotional power. Still, the answer to the question, what is art, evades us. According to Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, the definition of art is controversial in contemporary philosophy. Whether art can be defined has also been a matter of controversy. The philosophical usefulness of a definition of art has also been debated. So perhaps we are asking the wrong questions. What if, instead of asking what is art, we all started to ask where the nearest stock is? The same subjectivity of the definition of art, if there is to be a definition at all, is the same subjectivity that leads to extremely different views and experiences of the same art. So My Little Steamboat serves the same purpose as the jet boat that screams past me, or the massive cargo vessel that even I can pass. One thing is the same though. We all venture on the same journey of art, understanding and appreciating the beauty, all beginning at the same humble dock, the entrance to the world of art. Each journey through art is defined and executed according to the perspective of the viewer. That perspective is the culmination of life experiences that form their views on art, the importance, the meaning, the definition, if there is to be one, of art. When the goal of the journey and the perspective of two people are different, how can they have the same interpretations of the art? They can't. There is an intrinsic disconnect between the two people that view the same art. That disconnect allows for meaningful discussions to happen, but it is that same disconnect that forces us to realize how much we do not know. The artwork is a result from another human's vision. Whether that vision is literal or figurative depends on the piece itself. The question remains when two people view the same piece. There is ambiguity. So when two people are looking at two different things, the vision and the resulting work, how can there be certainty to the piece? Long ago, stories of the virtuous were passed down through spoken stories. Art is no different. Through artwork, one recounts the events that have occurred and tells the story to another. Art is the visualized word. The beauty of art is that a piece cannot be changed. Unlike spoken word, which gets distorted through iterations, art is one unchanged forever. But what is the certainty that the visualized word is any less distorted than the spoken word? There is none. While the physical painting cannot be distorted, the meaning and the interpretations can be because of the filters through which we see lives, our experiences, or our perspective. Because of this, art has the unique ability, like water, to take form of its container, meaning the interpretation you wish to see somehow always magically seems to appear, much like confirmation bias. Your point then cannot be disproven because of the controversial nature of said art. Art in that way is inconclusive. It can mean everything and nothing at the same time. You do not know until you look at the art for yourself. Then you turn to your left and you turn to your right, and you are made to realize that no conclusive understanding was made because the people standing on either side of you do not see the same thing as you or each other. But it does not matter because in that moment, the immortal words of Margaret Wolfe Hungerford reign supreme. The beauty is in the eye of the beholder. All those years ago, when I set out on my tiny steamboat into the vast waters of art, I would leisurely float along streams, allowing the current and my curiosity to guide me through my journey of art, much like those gondolas on canals of Venice. Years later, I would make it to those same canals we have all seen on the internet and in postcards. The beauty of the city and art alike are visible and tactile. Just like when you see the Mona Lisa, the first thing you see is the face. You immediately look in the background to see the trees. For every Mona Lisa, there are many trees, and likewise for every canal, there are many small and narrow streets that prevent Venice from being a series of floating buildings. Quite simply, neither is complete without the other. Both are required to tell the full story. But the full story of art is a little bit more complicated. Each painting, sculpture, and drawing recounts what it was like to live in that time, to see what they saw, to feel what the artist felt. There are so many artworks, including the 3rd of May, 1808 by Francisco Goya, which depict the travesties of that day, showing the terror, the brutality, and the pain that come along with wars. Other paintings, such as The Old Guitarist by Pablo Picasso, mark and show the artist's story. The Old Guitarist was painted after the death of a friend of Picasso. Contemporary artwork by such revered artists such as Jackson Pollock, Andy Warhol, and others show the progression of art as it changes forms and leaves behind some of the Renaissance time period influences that have characterized art for centuries. Art is truly the all-encompassing history book. The lives of great men and great women who have come before us live on due to their contributions to this history book. The trials and lessons they have learned have and always will be there to guide us through the doubt. The lessons art have taught me are invaluable. Art has taught me about perseverance. Despite only selling around 2 paintings in his lifetime, Vincent van Gogh still became one of the most famous artists because he never stopped painting. Art has taught me decision-making through witnessing every precise and deliberate brushstroke Monet made. And most importantly, art has taught me to embrace my own humanity. The emotions conveyed through each work of art expose aspects of life that we are better off with or without. But the awareness of that aspect of life forces you to realize that life isn't eternal. Carpe diem, seize the day. If you just listen, you can almost hear their voices whispering to you, the immortal wisdom learned over collective thousands of years. The journey art takes us upon is one of self-exploration and introspection. We learn about ourselves through the trials and tribulations we face, yet the option still exists to learn the same lessons without facing the suffering most of the time. We can do this because we have the ability to learn from those who have conquered the same trials and tribulations before us, the artists, and we can learn from them through their work. Though at times the waters can be rough, we must remind ourselves why we set out into the ocean of art: self-discovery, introspection, in the name of progress. At last, in the night, when you least expect it, a beam of light will become visible. It is a lighthouse that proves our labors were fruitful, a destination, but not the destination. It is just a pause for reflection till we set out into the waters again. By understanding art and what it means to us, we can utilize the wisdom and knowledge provided to us through the art in an everlasting quest to understand ourselves. So while I may look just 14, the journey art has taken me on and the knowledge I have gained through it makes it almost as though I am actually 743 years old. Thank you.